The music was loud. Not deafening, but loud enough to drown out the part of my brain screaming turn around. The front door was half open, a stupid handmade sign taped across the top that said SSSSH. Surprise in progress, in pink glitter. I walked right in. The living room was packed, people laughing, phones out, plastic cups half full with whatever cheap cocktail Chris thought made him a mixologist. Someone yelled, "Yo, Adam," like I was a ghost. A few heads turned. Smiles. Confusion. Amber, the birthday girl, clapped like she'd just seen a magician pull a dove from his sleeve. I waved. Didn't even take off my jacket. My palms were sweating. Where was Megan? I scanned past Chris, past Amber, past the crowd bouncing in time with the music. Then I caught a flash of red near the back patio, her heels. I'd bought them for our anniversary. She said they were too flashy and tucked them away. But there they were, clicking backward as she pulled open the sliding door, a guy's hand on the small of her back. Not her coworker. Not her friend. Not her anything I'd heard of. They stepped outside. She turned. Smiled. Touched his face. I stepped forward like I was walking off a cliff. She didn't see me at first. Too busy brushing something off his collar, that fake sweet little laugh I hadn't heard in months curling out of her throat. Then his hand slipped down, too familiar, too casual. She didn't flinch. I opened the door. Megan turned. The smile disappeared like someone had ripped it off her face. She froze. He didn't. He stayed where he was, hands still low, like he wanted me to see it. "Adam," she said, voice thin. I stared. My throat clenched around words I hadn't planned to say. And when they came out, they didn't even sound like mine. "This your book club, Meg?" Dead silence. She stepped back like the air had turned to fire. The guy looked at me, still grinning like an idiot, then reached for a beer on the patio table. That was the part that hit me hardest. He was comfortable. Like this wasn't some mistake. Like he'd been here before. "What are you doing here?" she asked, too fast. I laughed. Actually laughed. "Funny, I could ask you the same thing." Megan looked around like the party crowd might vanish if she blinked hard enough. "It's not Adam, this is not," she started. But I wasn't done. "How long has it been going on?" I asked. "Spare me the performance. Just tell me." "Don't do this here," she whispered. "Oh, now you care about here?" The guy finally spoke, voice low, like he thought he was part of the conversation. "Look, man, maybe we should talk somewhere else." I looked at him just once. "I didn't speak to you. And you should stop talking before I start remembering your face in a courtroom." Megan put a hand on my arm. I stepped away. And she changed. Just like that. Her face tightened. Her voice sharpened like ice cracking underfoot. "You know what? You never paid attention. You never saw me. I was a roommate to you. A shadow in our house. You think showing up here gives you the right to shame me?" My jaw clenched. I felt it click. She kept going. "You want the truth? Fine. I don't love you anymore. I haven't in a long time. But you never noticed because you were always busy fixing servers or coding or whatever the hell you do behind a screen while I faded into the background." Everything in me went quiet. The crowd behind us had gone still. Conversations muted. People were watching. And I realized she didn't care. Not about the party. Not about the people. Not even about me. She just wanted control. "Wow," I said finally. "You really made this easy." Then I turned around and walked back through the house, past the awkward stares and the spilled drinks and the half-open mouths. Behind me, I could hear her calling my name. But not once did I stop. I drove for almost 2 hours without knowing where I was going. No music. No GPS. Just the sound of the wind outside and the weird, hollow ringing in my ears. My phone buzzed at least 20 times. Megan. Then her mom. Then Megan again. I didn't answer. Eventually, I ended up in a parking lot outside some gas station off Route 8. Sat there, engine off, hands clenched around the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping me from flying apart. I wasn't angry yet. Not fully. Anger would have made sense. Would have grounded me. What I felt was this enormous emptiness. Like the floor had dropped out from under my life and I was still pretending I could stand. I kept replaying it. Her eyes when she saw me. Not afraid. Not guilty. Just caught. Like the worst part wasn't what she was doing, it was that I'd ruined her timing. I finally got out of the car when my fingers started to cramp. Bought a coffee I didn't drink. Sat back down. And then, without thinking, I opened my phone. 27 messages. 4 missed calls. 3 voicemails. I don't know what I expected. A confession? A breakdown? Instead, I saw this. "Megan, I can't believe you made a scene like that. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." That was the first message. Not "I'm sorry." Not "let's talk." Embarrassed her. Message after message, same energy. It's complicated. You've been emotionally unavailable for years. He actually pays attention to me. We were going to tell you. Eventually. Eventually. Like I was some extra in my own damn life. Like I wasn't supposed to find out yet and had the audacity to ruin her little secret garden party. That's when it started to burn. Deep in my chest. Slow, steady heat crawling up my throat. I threw the phone onto the passenger seat. Didn't even want it near me. I didn't drive home. Couldn't. I called my brother, told him something vague about needing a place to crash. He didn't ask questions, just gave me the code to his door. I let myself into his apartment, sat on his couch in the dark, and finally let myself feel it. The grief didn't come first. Neither did sadness. It was humiliation. I'd been defending her for months. When my friends said she was acting off, I told them she was just stressed. When my mom gently hinted something felt off, I shut it down. I was the guy still buying flowers for a woman who was busy wrapping her legs around someone else. And then came the flashbacks. The times she was working late. The weekend she said she was at a conference out of town. The random new lingerie I thought she'd bought for me turned out I never saw it again. I felt like a damn fool. Like I'd been in a play and didn't know I was the clown. And the worst part? She wasn't sorry. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She blamed me. As if I'd pushed her into the arms of some half-baked muscle dummy by not being enough. At some point, I passed out on the couch, still in my jacket. When I woke up the next morning, I had 3 new texts from Megan. We need to talk. I think we can still work this out if you just calm down. You're overreacting. That last one? That's what broke me. Not the cheating. Not the lies. Not even the betrayal. It was the way she tried to make me feel crazy for being devastated. Like I was the problem. And that's when I realized. There was no saving this. I didn't respond. Not to her texts. Not to her voicemails. Not even when she showed up at my brother's place 2 days later, knocking like she owned the damn world. I didn't open the door. She stood out there for 15 minutes, calling my name, alternating between that soft manipulative tone she used to use when she wanted something and a sharp, annoyed voice like I was being the unreasonable one. Like I had started all of this by showing up somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. She finally left after someone else in the building yelled at her to shut up. I watched from the peephole the entire time. It should have hurt more. It should have shattered me to see my wife standing on the other side of the door. But all I felt was the sitcom. Like someone had finally cut the last thread holding me hostage in a life that wasn't mine anymore. The next morning, she emailed me. An email. Like we were coworkers. Subject, can we be adults about this? The body of the email was worse. She listed the furniture she wanted to keep. The rug her mom gave us. The mixer she never used. My PS5 since you're not really into it lately. She tried to sprinkle it with some casual pity lines like, I know this is hard on you and I don't blame you for being upset. But we've both made mistakes and it's time to move forward. Both made mistakes. She cheated. Lied. Gaslit. Used me. And now she was trying to level it? As if my mistake was catching her too soon. As if all this would have been more reasonable if I just kept pretending not to notice. I replied with one line. My lawyer will be in touch. That's when it all shifted. Suddenly, I wasn't the spineless husband anymore. I was a threat. She called. Twice. No answer. She messaged my mom, to tell her I was being dramatic and throwing away a marriage over one mistake. My mom, God bless her, didn't even blink. She replied, he didn't throw it away. You did. Megan blocked her. Next came the desperation. Day 4, I get a knock on my brother's door. It's her again, but this time she brought reinforcements. Her sister, Rachel. They stood there like it was some kind of intervention. I opened the door, stepped out into the hallway, closed it behind me. Rachel spoke first. Adam, we just want to talk. Megan's been a mess. She's not sleeping, she's not eating. She's not used to not getting what she wants, I said. She'll adjust. Megan finally spoke, arms crossed, eyes wide like I just slapped her. You're being cold. No, I said. I'm being clear. Then I turned to Rachel. You didn't know? Rachel didn't answer. I nodded. Yeah. Didn't think so. Megan tried to grab my hand. We can still fix this. You're hurt right now, and I understand, but... No, I said, stepping back. You don't understand. You don't even care to. She blinked. Her face twisted into something bitter, like the real her was finally coming out. You think you're going to find someone better than me? Good luck. No one else is going to put up with how emotionally constipated you are. And there it was. The mask shattered. The venom out. I smiled. For real this time. I don't need someone better, I said. I just need someone honest. Someone who won't burn the house down and then hand me a hose after she lights the match. Rachel tugged her arm. We should go. Megan didn't move. She just stood there, staring like she couldn't believe she lost control. And me? I didn't even feel anger anymore. Just relief. The paperwork started that Friday. I walked into a small downtown office, greeted by a woman in a gray blazer who asked me if I wanted coffee while I waited. I sat in a fake leather chair, staring at a framed diploma on the wall that said Daniel T. Hargrove, Family Law, wondering how many stories like mine had passed through this place. Daniel was efficient. Blunt. After I gave him the rundown, he barely blinked. She cheated, showed no remorse, and is now trying to claim joint property rights over a PS5, he asked, flipping through notes. Yep, I said. He clicked his pen. Then we're not negotiating. We're filing. For the first time in weeks, I exhaled. The next few days were quiet. Megan didn't reach out again, not directly. But the ripple effect had already started. People were choosing sides. Some mutual friends messaged me privately to say they were shocked that they had no idea that they always thought she seemed so loyal. Others stayed silent. And then there were the ones who did know. Or at least suspected. Amber texted me. Short and awkward. I didn't know it was you she was seeing behind your back. I wouldn't have let him bring her to the party if I'd known. Him. His name was Kyle, apparently. Friend of a friend. Met at some volunteer event Megan did last spring. According to Amber, they'd been showing up together to events for months. Laughing. Touching. Acting like they were some cute new couple. Meanwhile, I was home making dinner for two. One message stood out. She told us you guys were separated. That you had been for a while. She said you were sleeping in different rooms and planning to split. That one knocked the air out of me. Because none of that was true. None of it. And yet she'd told it so confidently, so consistently that people just accepted it. She built a lie before she ever touched him. Like she was planning it. Like she needed to rewrite the story so she could be the misunderstood protagonist instead of the villain. I stopped replying to people after that. It wasn't that I didn't appreciate the support, it just didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. Every kind word felt like it was being dropped into a crater that had already swallowed the foundation of my life. Then Tuesday night, I made the mistake of checking social media. She had changed her profile picture. It was her. Wearing the red heels. Sitting at a patio table. Smiling at someone off camera. Same patio from the party. The caption? New beginnings, Dizzy. I stared at that screen so long my eyes blurred. It was like watching someone decorate a crime scene with flowers. Like she wasn't even pretending to grieve the loss. No sadness. No respect. Just sparkles and captions and likes. My hand was shaking, but I didn't throw the phone. I wanted to, but I didn't. Instead, I took a screenshot. Sent it to Daniel, the lawyer. His reply, noted. Because here's the thing, Megan might have moved on in her head, but legally, emotionally, morally? She was still married when she built that new beginning. And every glittery breadcrumb she left behind just made my side of this clearer. That night, I slept. For the first time since it happened, I actually closed my eyes and rested. And in the morning, I woke up without that sick, clenching weight in my chest. She was gone. Not just from the apartment. From my future. About a week after filing, Megan showed up at our apartment. Our apartment. Technically still under both our names, though she hadn't stepped foot in it since the night she got exposed like a knockoff handbag in front of 50 people. I hadn't gone back either, not yet. I wasn't ready to stand in those rooms and count the memories she'd ruined. But I needed to grab a few things, documents, laptop, some clothes that didn't smell like my brother's detergent. I pulled into the lot and saw her car already there. Parked sideways, like the rules never applied to her. I sat there for a second. Just breathing. She must have heard the door because she opened it before I could unlock it myself. She was wearing one of my old hoodies. The one from a trip we took to Lake George. Her hair was messy like she thought it might make her look softer. Or maybe more broken. Hey! She said. I walked past her. The apartment smelled different. Her candles, probably. Something floral and fake. Like she was trying to replace the air itself. I kept my eyes forward and headed straight for the office. She followed. Adam, she said, quiet. Can we just talk? I didn't answer. You can't just ghost me and file, she said, voice rising. We've been together for 9 years. I stopped at the filing cabinet. Yeah, I said. And you threw it away for a guy who calls himself K-Dizzle in his Instagram bio. She flinched. That's not fair. No. I cut her off, turning to face her. What's not fair is you walking around acting like you're the one who got blindsided. Like you didn't actively, deliberately betray me. She blinked, eyes wide. She didn't expect me to be this calm, this clear. You lied to my face for months, Megan. You made me question my own instincts. You told people we were separated. You what? Needed a softer landing into your new life. I wasn't happy, she snapped. And instead of talking to me, you built a secret life. I shot back. You kissed another man while still sharing a bed with me. You made plans with him while lying to me about teacher conferences and girls' nights. You didn't want a partner. You wanted a safety net. She opened her mouth, closed it again. I kept going. Your version of love is conditional. Convenient. You want attention, praise, drama, but commitment? No. Not if it means accountability. Her hands were shaking. Good. I never planned for it to go this far, she whispered. No, I said. You just planned to not get caught. Then she said the one thing I didn't expect. You're not perfect either. I blinked. Excuse me? You shut down, she said. You never noticed how distant you got. You buried yourself in work. You stopped complimenting me. You stopped touching me. I felt invisible. I stared at her. You know what you do when you feel invisible, Megan? You speak up. You don't start auditioning replacements like it's open casting for a new season of your life. She didn't cry. She wanted to. But I think even her tears knew they wouldn't work anymore. I grabbed my documents, my laptop, and the framed photo of my parents. She watched me like I was stealing things that used to belong to her. At the door, I turned. I'll be staying at my brother's until this is finalized. I'll send someone for the rest of my stuff. Adam, she said, barely above a whisper. Please don't hate me. I held her gaze. I don't hate you, I said. I just don't recognize you. Then I left. And this time I didn't look back. The silence after that day felt different. It wasn't hollow like before. It wasn't heavy. It was clean. Like after a bad storm when the sky finally clears and everything's still wet but breathing again. I spent the first few days just existing. I'd wake up early, not because I had to, but because my body was still wired for a life that wasn't mine anymore. I'd make coffee, scroll through emails, sit by the window in my brother's guest room and watch the world keep spinning. There were no good mornings from her. No passive-aggressive notes on the fridge. No perfume lingering in the hallway. No fake smiles. And weirdly, that was the most peace I'd felt in months. But peace is a funny thing. It lets you feel pain more clearly. One night, maybe around midnight, I opened a drawer in my duffel and pulled out the stupid little anniversary card I'd tucked in there weeks ago. One of those just-in-case gestures. I'd bought it before everything crashed. Back when I still believed she was just going through something. It had a sketch of a house on the front and a dumb, sappy line inside. No matter where we go, as long as it's with you, I'm home. I stared at it for a long time. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Then I tore it in half. No drama, no yelling, just slow, deliberate tearing. And when I was done, I dropped the pieces in the trash and walked outside. It was cold, quiet. The kind of quiet that dares you to fill it. I didn't. I just sat on the porch steps and let the memories come. The nights we danced in the kitchen. The road trip where she sang off-key the whole way to Vermont. The night we adopted our dog. Well, my dog now, since she couldn't handle the responsibility. Every single one of those moments tainted now. Like someone smudged ink all over the pages of a book I used to love. But I didn't cry. Couldn't. She didn't deserve my tears anymore. The next morning I started making a list. Not of revenge. Not of regrets. A list of me. Things I wanted to reclaim. Things I'd given up or let go of for her comfort, her schedule, her moods. The woodworking class I never took because it conflicted with her quiet nights. The guitar collecting dust in the closet because it made too much noise. The friends I'd slowly drifted from because she didn't like them. Even dumb stuff like watching horror movies she couldn't stand. I was taking it back. Every inch of me. I called my old buddy Nate and told him I was down for poker nights again. I booked the woodworking class. I even went to the movies alone, saw some loud, ridiculous thriller that would have driven Megan crazy. I laughed through the whole thing. It didn't fix everything. I was still angry. Still gutted. Still mourning the version of my life that had died when I opened that patio door. But I was moving forward. And one afternoon as I was heading out, I passed by a bar downtown and spotted Megan inside through the window. She was at a high table, laughing. With him. Kyle? Or K Dizzle? Or whatever the hell he called himself. His hand was on her thigh. She leaned into him like he was gravity. I didn't freeze this time. I didn't feel the floor collapse beneath me. I just kept walking. Didn't even slow down. Because the woman in that window wasn't my wife. She was just someone I used to know. The divorce process moved fast. Faster than I expected, honestly. Megan didn't contest anything, maybe because she thought if she signed quickly enough it'd make her look like the bigger person. Or maybe Kyle was pushing her to leave the past in the past. Either way, I didn't care. Every signature she gave was just one more brick on the road leading away from her. We had one last meeting. A final in-person session with both our lawyers present to review the division of assets, sign, and seal. Neutral office. No drama expected. I walked in wearing a plain button-up. Calm. Ready. Megan was already seated, legs crossed, nails freshly done, always had to look composed. She barely looked at me. Let's just make this quick, she said, flipping through the folder without emotion. And then, right at the end, she pulled a move that was so her, I almost laughed out loud. She pointed at the old armchair in the living room. The one my dad gave me. The one she always said was ugly and smelled like mothballs. Now suddenly she wanted it. For what? I asked. She shrugged. It's the only thing in the apartment with any character. Unbelievable. You want the chair? I said. Take it. I hope it haunts you. My lawyer raised an eyebrow. Megan's didn't even blink. Once we signed the final papers, Megan stood and offered her hand. It was fake. Formal. I looked at it like it was a dead fish. I hope you find what you're looking for, she said. And I gave her the one truth I had left for her. I already did. She didn't ask what I meant. She didn't want to know. That night, I went back to the apartment. Alone. Empty. I stood in the doorway for a long time. Everything was gone. Not just the things she took, but the feeling. The scent of her shampoo. Her wine glasses on the counter. Her clutter on the bathroom sink. All of it wiped clean. The ugly old chair was gone too. Of course. I stood in the silence, breathing. And then I opened a window. Let the air move through. I cleaned. Top to bottom. Like I was exorcising every corner. I took down the photos, boxed up her leftover clothes, tossed the throw pillows she insisted, tied the room together. I repainted the hallway the next morning. Ordered a new coffee table that didn't come from her Pinterest board. Every change was a little reclaiming of self. A declaration, I'm still here. You're not. And that's a good thing. A week later, I got a message from her. Saw a photo of you with Nate and the guys. You look good. I'm glad you're doing well. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because for the first time in years, I was. And I was just getting started. A month passed. Then, too. Megan faded. Not in the tragic, poetic way people like to romanticize. No, she just stopped taking up space in my head. I stopped checking her socials. Stopped wondering who she was with or whether Kyle had figured out what I had too late, that behind the smiles and charm, Megan was a storm disguised as summer. The apartment became mine again. Not ours. Not hers. I'd put up new curtains. Ugly ones, just to test my freedom. I left the toilet seat up. Cooked whatever the hell I wanted. Burnt steaks. Ate cereal for dinner. Started hanging out with Nate again and even made peace with friends I hadn't seen since Megan decided she didn't vibe with their energy. Translation, they saw through her. The more I rebuilt my life, the clearer it all became. She hadn't just betrayed me in that backyard. She'd been peeling pieces of me away for years, bit by bit, smile by smile, until all that was left was a man walking on eggshells in his own damn home. And I'd let it happen. That was the hardest truth. I saw it now. The manipulation. The guilt-tripping. The way she'd twist my words to make herself the victim every time she got caught. How every conversation had become a maze I couldn't win. And I remember thinking back then, maybe if I just love her better, more, harder, but the more I gave, the less of me remained. Until she found someone else to drain. One night, Nate and I sat on my balcony, beers in hand, city lights blinking like a low battery signal in the distance. You ever miss her? He asked, not in a judgmental way, just curiosity. I thought about it. Really thought. I missed the idea of her, I said. The version I built in my head. The one who didn't exist. Nate nodded like he knew exactly what I meant. Funny how they can wear your love like a jacket, he said, and then blame you when they outgrow it. That line stuck with me, because that's what she'd done. And it wasn't just about Kyle. It was about control. It was about how she needed to feel adored every second of the day. And the moment I stopped clapping for her every breath, I became expendable. Let her have Kyle. Let her have her new beginnings. She can recycle that story as many times as she wants, but at some point the spotlight burns out. Me? I was living again. I started seeing someone new. It wasn't serious. It wasn't fast. It was just real. No games. No hidden phones. No drama. Just two people laughing over pancakes at a diner. Staying up too late talking about dumb movies and old heartbreaks. She knew about Megan. I told her everything up front. Her response? Damn. She really did you dirty. But hey, sounds like you finally remembered who the hell you are. And I had. I wasn't a victim. I wasn't broken. I was just free. And freedom? Tastes a hell of a lot better than betrayal ever did. It was a Sunday when the final confirmation came through. Divorce finalized. An email. No confetti. No grand closure. Just a sterile PDF from the county clerk's office stamped and signed. The subject line might as well have read, "You made it out." I stared at it for a while. Not because I had second thoughts, those were long gone. But because it felt like the final punctuation mark on a chapter that started with a vow and ended in a lie. I didn't feel like celebrating. I didn't feel like crying either. What I felt was settled. Like my soul had been clenching its jaw for months and finally loosened. I called my mom. She didn't ask questions. She just said, "I'm proud of you." She knew. She'd seen the signs before I did. I used to get annoyed when she hinted at things Megan said that felt off. But now, I owed her more than an apology. I owed her credit for loving me through something I wouldn't admit was happening. After that, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went back to the place where it all started. Chris's house. The infamous party. Amber was the one who opened the door. Her eyes widened for a second like she thought I'd come for a rematch. I just smiled. "Relax. I'm not here to burn the place down." She laughed, "Let me in." Chris was in the kitchen, mid-beer, jaw practically hitting the counter when he saw me. I told them both I wasn't there for drama. I just wanted to talk. "I've been carrying this crap around like it's a backpack full of bricks," I said. "And I think it's time I leave it where it started." Chris nodded. "Man, if I could go back, I would have handled that night different." "You didn't cheat on me," I said. "But you did invite him." He winced. "I didn't know it was like that." "You didn't ask," I replied. "But it's fine. I'm not here to guilt you. I'm just done holding it." Amber put a hand on my arm. "You look better, by the way. Lighter." I did feel lighter. That night, I left without bitterness in my chest. Without the rage that had burned behind my ribs since that moment on the patio. The circle had closed. Funny thing about healing. Most people expect it to be loud. Some dramatic epiphany or tearful breakthrough. But for me, it was silent. A quiet return to myself. I spent more time with people who actually liked me, not just tolerated me. I started reading again. Something Megan used to sigh about because it wasn't time together if we weren't doing the same thing. I cooked for one and didn't feel lonely. I walked my dog every morning with a playlist that didn't remind me of anyone. And Megan? She tried to creep back in. One message. Weeks after the final papers. "Hey, just wanted to say I'm glad you're doing okay. Sometimes I miss the way things used to be. Hope you're happy." No punctuation. No question. Just bait. And I left it on read. Because she didn't deserve a reply. Because that wasn't love in her words, it was nostalgia for control. And I wasn't hers to control anymore. There was no big epilogue. No dramatic twist ending. No stormy reunion or courtroom monologue. Life just kept going. And for once, I didn't feel like I was chasing it from behind. Some mornings, I still woke up with that phantom weight beside me in bed, that reflex to reach over and feel for someone who wasn't there anymore. But it passed quicker now. Less ache, more echo. Like hearing a song you used to love, only to realize you no longer remember the lyrics. The new girl, her name's Lena by the way, was different. Not in the obvious ways. She didn't try to fix me. Didn't need me to prove anything. We talked. About real things. And when we laughed, it wasn't to cover something up. It was just laughter. Clean. Undiluted. One night, a few weeks after the divorce was finalized, Lena and I were walking through this little arts festival. She stopped at a booth selling these messy, hand-painted signs with random quotes on them. Most were cliché. One wasn't. It said, "Some people love you the way they know how. That doesn't mean it's the way you deserve." I bought it. Didn't even think twice. It's hanging in my kitchen now, right above the new coffee maker, the one Megan used to call too bulky. Every now and then I think about how I'd describe Megan now if someone asked. Not as a villain. Not anymore. That's too easy. Too black and white. She was a mirror. She showed me what love shouldn't feel like. What it shouldn't cost. She taught me that being chosen doesn't mean you're being cherished. That someone can say, "I love you" with their mouth while tearing you apart with every action. And me? I learned the difference between being committed and being stuck. Between loyalty and self-abandonment. I learned to stop making excuses for people who don't show up for me. I learned that walking away isn't weakness, it's clarity. So if you're reading this and you're in that place I was in, sitting in your car, heart caving in, wondering how the hell you didn't see it sooner, let me tell you something. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are not broken. You were just lied to, gaslit, forgotten. And that is not your fault. You deserve someone who doesn't make you doubt your own eyes. Someone who doesn't twist your love into leverage. Someone who sees you even when you're not clapping. And I promise you, the peace on the other side is worth every storm it takes to get there. Adam. Yeah, that's my real name. And I'm finally free.